Hey guys, Cassie here, coming at you with the trick of the week, which is around the world. And sometimes if I'm in a bachelorette class, I'll call it the stripperella move. It's definitely a friendly, level 1 friendly trick. It's super fun. It helps students learn that aerial is a little bit harder than they thought, and it messes with your brain a little bit. There are several things that you'll train leading up to this move. So usually in a level 1 class setting, I will have trained hip hang as our inversion of the class, and we'll have done a couple of things there. I'll teach them Superman, because that's an essential component of this trick, and I'll teach them how to go from a seat with one leg out of the swing and bringing it back in through the center of your handles. Pretty easy move. Even if it's a big level 1 class, I'll kind of get people to pair up and give them homework to make sure that the other person is being safe. But here's the thing. I do that not so much because I expect my students to really help each other. I do that to make sure that only half the amount of students are doing it at once, and I can keep an eye on everybody a little bit easier and go around and help people out. So that's kind of a fun trick. And then in a level 2 class, I expect my students to know this move because I use it a lot as a transition in my intermediate aerial yoga class. So again, you need to know hip hang, you need to know Superman, and you need to be able to swing your leg through the center of the handles to be able to do this trick. So first, what I will have trained people to do is from hip hang, or whatever you might call it. You're up on the balls of your feet and you pull the fabric tight, wider than your body against your natural hip crease, so not on your hip bone and not on your bladder. Tiptoe forward a little bit so that you feel the slack tightening against your hip crease, then hands down onto the floor, tiptoe yourself back so that you're underneath the plumb line. Then I'll train people to do Superman. So lift your legs up so they're parallel to your mat. You're using your core, your hamstrings, your glutes. Plant your fingertips just below your shoulders. Then grab one hand onto a handle, grab the other hand onto your handle, lift your chest up. Now students might just stay here, or they can play around with full-on floating Superman. Okay? So that is one thing that I'll train. I usually make them do it about 6 or 7 times. Then another thing that I'll have them train is from a seated position. Grab both hands onto one handle, lean back and to the side, and bring your opposite leg up through the center of your handles and kiss your big toes together. Now for new students, that can be physically challenging as they're holding themselves up with their upper body and using their core strength to straddle their one handle. So what they tend to do is grab onto the other handle for support. Well, if you do that, there's no way that you can bring your leg back up through the center of the handles. You don't have a window. So I'm trying to train them that you've got to grab onto one handle and then bring your leg back up through the center, take a seat. And I'd have them do that about 3 times on each side. And then we would go through the whole trick. So I say, you're back in your hip hang. Then you come up into a one-handed Superman. Flip the grip of whatever handle you're grabbing, and it is that same handle that you're grabbing, that is the leg that does the action. Now a lot of students will want to look down to the floor here and keep their hand on the floor, but that's actually going to make it harder for them. So you tell them you need to look over your shoulder, look at what's happening. Bend the knee of the handle that you're grabbing. Try to push your foot against the fabric to help you roll all the way around. Your other hand will grab onto the handle. And then bring your free leg back up through the center of the swing. Now make sure that you did that without grabbing onto your other handle, because then you don't have a window. Both hands onto the same handle, lift yourself up. And then before they do it, I'll tell them, partners, your job is to make sure that your partner only brings one leg through the center of the handles, not both legs. And I show them that is what will happen if they bring both legs through. And then I'll also say, because it probably won't happen as gracefully as that. And that's good. It gives people a little bit of a sense of responsibility, helps break up the class for me, and it's a super satisfying trick. Once they get it one time, it's usually a bit easier, and I'll have them do it about 2 or 3 times before we move on. So super fun, super easy trick, great for a level 1 class, great if you're doing a party class, but you feel like the class won't really enjoy seatbelt wrap for whatever reason. Hip hang is a little bit easier, and students get a kick out of kind of doing a little bit of a pull move. So if you have any questions, if you call that something else, if you have flair that you want to add to it, comment below, tag me in any videos, and have fun.